Bismillah, welcome to The Bridge. In today's episode, we're going to cover a variety of topics where we're going to be going through the Mizzy situation. We're going to go through the Andrew situation of him coming out of prison and his interview with PPD and many other topics, including divorces, marriages. So make sure you stay till the end and we'll catch you on the next one. Let me talk about myself. If I don't wear this top, wallahi, as God is my witness, I'll go wear a Primark top. Like, you can't tell me nothing because I'm content within who I am as a man. Or if I'm wearing, I don't know, whatever, some dead jeans, I'll wear it because I'm content. So I think linking to this kind of mindset of where does this mindset come from with not having enough money, it definitely comes from a lack of contentment with who you are as a person. Yeah, Imam, so I don't know if you've noticed, but obviously there's this craze with pranking. So obviously many years ago you had, and I don't know what they used to call the jackasses. They used to do like pranks, burn their bums and some funky stuff. But nowadays you have youngsters also doing pranks. So one of the kids today, I think we come past a kid called Mizzy, being controversial. He's been on, what's that, talk show or something with Piers Morgan. The kid's basically going around sometimes people's houses open, just saying, hello, who's there? You know, random. It could be a woman in there, it could be a child in there. And then also he's taking people's dogs, running away. So from the angle of parenting, like the kid probably looks about 15, 14. I don't even know what age he is, but he's definitely young.
Maybe 17 or 18 or something like this.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're doing it for views. They're doing it for views. They're doing it to get named. They're doing it then to make money. What's your angle with regards to that? Like, I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, I saw some of his stunts, when he steals somebody's dog.
He stole someone's dog, yeah, in the park.
He gone into somebody's house and so on. I mean, when I see it, I see how, society is getting degraded day by day. And, how things are getting worse. And sometimes you see, some people send me stuff where, okay, somebody's approaching somebody's wife. Oh, can I have your number? And I'm just thinking in my mind, you know what? If we're in that situation, how are you going to respond? I'm sure sometimes it's fake though, because I know most a kind of
As in the video that they sent to you of someone asking for someone's wife's
they're
number.
kind of like mocking. Oh, can I have your wife's number? Can I take your wife
All
out?
of it is fake.
Yeah, meaning the guy who's in there and the woman is probably all kind of like planned in the prank.
Okay.
Because a normal man, how will he react? Okay, come on, that's a fight straight away. Yeah, if a man's got some decency, you just come into my wife or my, let's say it's a partner even.
Yeah, it's a punch up.
I'm not going to accept that and respect that at all. So how has it reached to that level if this is true? Now, saying this also, I think an important factor is Mizzy's a kid. I think you would differ. You would differ because I know you have mentioned.
Well, he's a young man.
And you're real. In fact, what you're saying is how it's supposed to be.
He's a young man.
14, 15, Islamically, okay, you're mukallaf. Mukallaf means you're obligated to fulfill your obligations to Allah. And if you don't, you're guilty. So you are, from an Islamic perspective, you are a man. Yeah. But at the same time, what I'm trying to say is,
in the culture that we live in,
the culture, the society, the parents, the fathers, the community leaders, the teachers, the government, the local authority, the police, because even Mizzy, what did he say? Well, the police can't really do anything, correct?
Yeah.
So everybody else also has a part
to play
in what Mizzy or anybody else is doing.
Personally, the more I look into, even when I look into the whole YouTube scene and all of that, I think personally comes, if you go way back before YouTube was alive and you look at the TV shows that was around, it's not just being replicated but by normal people. So you'll have talk shows, but talk shows used to be there anyway. But now just people are doing it on YouTube and podcasts like we're kind of doing. But back in the day, it would be a governmental or it would be a commercialized version. Now you just have a more of a, a private, normal, everyone's doing it. It's nothing special anymore. So when these guys are doing the pranks, it definitely does come from watching what the people before used to do. And then they're seeing the success that they got and they're thinking, I can do that. That's literally, no one that does pranks or anything like this comes out of their brain today and says, I'm just going to do something new. They've seen the past people do it. They've seen the success that they got of it. For example, what's this? I I don't want to call people any names, but KSJ, KSI, yeah, KSI and Logan and all these people, right now they're millionaires. But if you go historically back and see how they started with pranks. They started with making someone else look foolish or scaring someone, or I'm going in the woods tonight, guys, and see what I'm going to see. And that's how they started. But then now what happened? They get more fame, they get more money. Now they're becoming like they're businessmen, and as if they didn't do that in the past. But then these youth saw their trajectory and are copying in the same way. But within that then, as a community, how do we go about the next generation? Obviously, because as a parent I am right now, I can teach wherever I can teach to my kids. But as soon as they go out into society, when it comes to schools, the environment, that tells them a whole different narrative. So it doesn't matter what my views are. Because as soon as they leave the home, the school tells them, like the guy just said, the police can't do nothing. The teachers can't do nothing. The parents can't do nothing. So the kid feels like, in essence, wa'udu billah, but like a god. I can do whatever I like, and no one can't tell me nothing.
One angle, Abdul Latif. So, like you said, there were others who were doing it. I would say not completely, but they had some sort of boundaries and they had some sort of skills. Yeah. And reminds me of a hadith. Yeah? The Messenger of Allah said, إِذَا وُسِّدَ الْأَمْرُ إِلَى غَيْرِ أَهْلِهِ فَانْتَظِرِ السَّاعَةِ. So when the matter and leadership and the affairs are given to people who are not worthy of it, then wait for the hour to come, the day of judgment. This is one of the signs of the day of judgment. Take an example, okay, scholars. So you might have had scholars who are very learned and people will take the knowledge from them. Now, social media, YouTube, platforms, anybody can speak about Islam. If you ask, okay, what has your studies been? Where did you study? Who kind of gave you a right to actually speak about Islam? Many wouldn't have that kind of like credibility and so on. So same with, on this kind of like, angle with these youngsters. They've been given a platform, right, wrong, understanding, knowledge, doesn't matter. I've got a platform, I'm going to use it. The other factor is taking another step back. It's about marriage. Yeah, I remember, I always mention this because it's in the class when I was in Medina. The teacher asked a question and said, look, when do you start cultivating your children? Yeah. I said, when the child is born. Others said, look, when the child is 6, when the child is 7, when the child is, like you said, a young man, so 14, 15, 13. Yeah. What do you think? What did he say? What was the right answer? He said, all of you are wrong.
I remember you said the answer. You said it's when you choose the woman or something.
When you choose your spouse. So same for, the woman choosing a husband, same for the husband choosing, a wife. When you select that, because we can, let's say, blame society, but if parents are not involved, mother and father are not involved, there's no emotional connection, there's no kind of like love, there's no education, and the father is busy and the mother is busy, or the marriage is broken down. Many of our discussions on the podcast have been, you bring it up. Where's your father? Because whenever you hear, okay, something has gone wrong, was your father around? Yeah, my father was around, meaning he's married to my mum, but you know what? He lived abroad.
Around, yeah. Or they was divorced.
Or there was divorce, or the father passed away, or the father just wasn't involved, he's abroad. That, especially Muslims, yeah, we got to get that right. Got to get that right.
So you because I think even with the Mizzy kid, he did say his father wasn't in his life.
Yeah.
And then he said also his mum's not talking to him at the moment. So that already shows a child who has an authority within himself, basically. There's no dad to tell you what to do. The mum, after a certain age, as men we know, doesn't have that authority over you. After like probably 9, 10, the mum can't really tell you to, because she hasn't got the physical force to pull you back down. So he can do whatever he likes. So moving on from that then, because obviously, like you said, the marriage side, it should be before you even get married.
100%.
But we know that a lot of people do get married and end up in divorces. And today's ages, we know that the divorce rate, even in the Muslim community and in the non-Muslim community, is one of the highest at the moment. And when I researched it the other day, when I was looking into this whole divorce thing, it said that the majority of the divorces nowadays comes from, I think the second was finances, money. Even though we live in the West and money, you can say in essence is abundant. It's not like no one's dying from starvation. Do you get what I mean? But one of the biggest, I think second it was, if it wasn't the first, was finances. So the majority of these people that are you seeing getting divorces are based around finances. Like, how is that to be rectified then?
Okay, I mean, one, the paradigm, your reasoning for marriage, your
Is it for
reasoning
money?
to be happy. So the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon
Sallallahu
him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I mean, difficult to compare because there's, different level.
Mm.
Remember, Sahabas, there were battles, wars in that time, and Sahabas would die. What would happen? So even if we were to say, look, okay, the husband or the father's not around, is there somebody else in the community, an uncle, a grandfather, the masjid, kind of like an elder? Is there somebody else that is able to take a step, towards cultivating, educating, disciplining? That needs to be looked into.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah, but right, finance now, again, this paradigm, where is it coming from? A non-Muslim capitalist paradigm. There's no money, we can't be happy. And when you're saying it in a Western context as well, what does it mean? Okay, we can't go to the restaurant, we can't go on a holiday once a year. Okay, but you got a roof over your head, and you're eating, and you're drinking, and you know what? You've got the basics. So what are you unhappy about in this relationship?
100%. I think a lot of it, like you just hit on the head, is that there's a difference between necessities and your wants. And I think a lot of people now think wants are necessities. Like a holiday has become a necessity. Like, since when did going to another country become a necessity? If you want to go and see the beach, go Cornwall. You understand? Go to the Dover. Go to wherever the local beaches are. Go there. If you want to go see some mountains, I'm sure you can go to, what's it called, Scotland, and go to the Highlands. Like, this is all within your country. But now the desires, so the trainers have become, I must have a Jordans. It can't be Adidas, or it can't be some basic, I don't know whatever the names are that are there today, but it can't be that. It has to be the name brands. It has to be the holidays. It has to be, even though I'm wearing a name brand now, but alhamdulillah, I can afford it. I'm not trying to chase it. There's a big difference. You know what I'm trying to say to you, man? It's like, if I don't have this, let me talk about myself. If I don't wear this top, wallahi, as God is my witness, I'll go wear a Primark top. Like, you can't tell me nothing, because I'm content within who I am as a man. Or if I'm wearing, I don't know, whatever, some dead jeans, I'll wear it because I'm content. So I think linking to this kind of mindset of where does this mindset come from with not having enough money, it definitely comes from a lack of contentment with who you are as a person. Since you're not content with who you are as a person, the car makes you feel good. The logo makes you feel good. The holiday makes you feel good. And it's not even that the holiday and that makes you feel good, it's the reaction from other people that make you feel good. Does that make sense, Imam?
100%, 100%.
That's literally where the majority of when I speak to people, it comes from. But as a Muslim, we're meant to have the deen.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of, I don't know what the word for it is, but the disconnect between your spiritual connection with your creator, which is telling you clearly, don't chase this world. Don't, Allah says in the Quran that this world is like a mirage. What's a mirage? When you're driving and you see, like, it looks like there's water ahead of you, there isn't water ahead of you. It's just fake. By the time you get there, there's nothing there. Does that make sense? So as a Muslims anyway, how can we solve that? Obviously I've given you the issue, but is there solutions that we can give to these people? Because the divorce rates are high, like we spoke about this before.
Yeah. Well, look, one issue I would say is, where we are taking our guidance. Now, let's say,
As in, like, where we're getting it from.
where we're getting it from. So our thinking, where is it kind of like, coming from? So even, brothers tell me in the masjid, you know what? As an imam, your car needs to be better.
I agree with that. I'm not going to lie to you.
Mashallah. You know
I'm
what?
joking, God.
They're good intentions.
Yeah.
You need to make Islam look strong, wealthy, powerful.
Sorry to cut you. Didn't Muawiyah say something like this to Umar? With regards to when he was talking about like where to live. I'm sure I read on somewhere where Muawiyah was finding somewhere to live, and Umar said, why are you living like these people?
Justifying your designer clothes and justifying living.
No, I'm not. No, Umar was sticking on him.
Okay.
Saying like, why are you living like lavish?
I think he went to visit him,
Sah.
and by that time he was like the governor or something.
Naam, yes, in Syria, wherever he was.
Yeah.
And he was living lavish. But he was trying to argue, like, look at the kings and that's how they live. We should live like that. And Umar was like, when did we get honor from this?
So I know, look, Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah, who became the general of the army, after Khalid bin Walid. And when Umar was coming into Jerusalem now Jerusalem was under the Roman, so it's, pompous glory, wealth. So he's come with his servant, one horse or one riding animal, taking it in turns. Even entering into Jerusalem, it's the servant's turn to sit on that animal. Even the servant is saying, no, it doesn't look right. You're the Khalifa. You see, no, no, we've got to be just. But as he's coming, well, Abu Ubaidah come and said, look, you're scruffy, you're dirty, you're coming to meet leaders of like civilization now. You've got to change your clothing and stuff. What did he say? Allah gave us izzah not through this, through Islam. And if we seek izzah from another way, we're going to be humiliated. Yeah. So, now the role models that we are taking from, who are they? Who's going back to the Sahaba and Sahabiyat? Who's going back to the Messenger of Allah and he lived with poverty? That is crucial. And that day by day with social media influence, people are just taking other role models. Yeah, rather than what Allah has given us as role models, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, and the companions.
So how would we, obviously, like, for example, I'm sure there's many people that come to you with divorce issues. I know you have that kind of as your daily schedule. From what you tell me, it's a very busy one. So how would we now, because obviously, alhamdulillah, a lot of people that watch this, even today, mashallah, I met one youngster as I was coming here, and he was like, mashallah, I watch you lot stuff, and it gives them guidance. So I might be questioning you, not personally for me, but I'm sure there's many youngsters in that situation who are looking for answers and they haven't necessarily got an imam or someone that can give them that advice. So obviously we're talking, it's a podcast, but we also try to make it so that is beneficial for the people. We're not just trying to get views. We're not just trying to talk about controversial issues for the sake of talking about it. It's more that whoever watches this benefits from it. As soon as they leave this show, hopefully, they get something that can say, you know what, I've learned this today. That's what the guy said to me. He said, you know what, I have so many bad days sometimes. When I put on the bridge and I see you lot's stuff, I actually felt like I've done a productive thing. That's what he literally said to me. So I thought, you know what, hearing that kind of motivates you to obviously ask the right questions, talk about the right things, and then at least give these men, these maybe women out, because men that I was speaking to, but some form of solution. So cool. We know the issue is, say, money or whatever. We know that at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they had those issues, but they obviously was able to weave their way around it. How can the new youngsters weave their way around it? What kind of things can we do? Obviously, okay, is it reading the Quran more? Is it learning Arabic? What is it? Could it be?
Key thing, which again, where is our knowledge coming from? What are we doing? Okay, people are watching podcasts. Alhamdulillah, the bridge, inshallah, gives something positive. Yeah, but that's what youngsters will say. I watch this podcast. I watch that podcast.
Are you saying don't watch no more the bridge? Is that what you're saying?
No comment. But the point is now, where's the knowledge coming in?
Yeah.
If you're not studying Quran, you're not studying Hadith, you're not studying Seerah of the Messenger, you're not studying Sahaba, how are you going to know what's right and wrong? Who's going to be your kind of like role model to teach you? So that, what did the Messenger of Allah say? Talabul ilm faridatun ala kulli Muslim. Seeking that knowledge, talking about Islamic knowledge, obligation upon every Muslim. We can then hopefully start to change, because the thinking will change with that right knowledge coming in. Until then, it's a losing battle we're fighting.
So the first thing would be seek Islamic knowledge, not just, because some might say, what about science? Because wouldn't science lead you to God or geography or history? Or
no, I mean, look, the basis of everything has to be Islam. Science comes under that. Islam's got to guide that. Nowadays, sometimes people do the opposite way. If science says, well, Islam is wrong in this, then you know what, okay, it's wrong. And if it says it's right, no. I think that Allah's deen is supreme. Everything else is under kind of like, you might have some points. I mean, what do you think in terms of?
What, in terms of trying to keep a marriage?
No, just generally, I mean, you're educating the youngsters. Okay, I said knowledge. What else could you say? Could you say lack of leadership? There needs to be more.
My thing, obviously, you already know I got my own page, which is the resilient leader. It's like personal development. My key thing, because I've come from the background of being gangs or whatever, and changing that into a different narrative now, is definitely self-development. Like as a man, and I can't talk for women, but I'm sure there's many things they can take from the same lessons, is that what do you have to contribute as a human being? That comes under, okay, well, if I believe in Allah and He has created me for a purpose, and my purpose can't just to be an insignificant human being, then I must be able to produce something in this world. For me to produce something, I need to be able to be strong. I need to be able to be smart. I need to be able to be healthy. In fact, and it's not to boost myself, is when I was on the streets, wallahi, I've never touched drugs or smoking or drinking.
Alhamdulillah.
Because I always saw it as through my way of life of studying and just seeing my dad or my culture, that smoking and drinking and doing things like that made you weak. Like if me and you go into a fight, you're gonna lose because you just can't keep up with what I'm doing. Does that make sense? So seeing it from that angle now as a practicing person, I'll say to these people, whether they're in marriages or not, each individual has to go through a process of self-development. Find out what your weakness is and increase in it by getting stronger. If I'm bad at speaking, learn how to speak. If I'm bad at communicating, learn how to communicate properly. If I'm bad at making money, learn how to make money. Like every success leaves some form of tracks. No one just becomes successful by their own, will. They follow some form of formula. What is that formula? Okay, if marriage is failing, go and speak to a marriage who's been there for years and see, what's working for you lot. But yeah, they're quick to put on YouTube and look at reasons to divorce and just, I'm gonna divorce, that's it. But then the grass, like you've said to me many times, the grass is always not greener than on the other side. You think it's greener on the other side. But then as soon as you get into another marriage and you haven't even solved your problems, you're just bringing those problems into another marriage. And then the same thing happens again and then you have a spiral. So for me, personally, it's about personal development, but that links within the deen.
So that point is important now. So you could, there is a lack of leadership. So what I get from what you're saying, look, you know what? With the Islamic paradigm, those who know and have the skills of
Should be teaching.
educating and leading people and have got a platform like yourself also need to be doing that. Because remember, if, let's say like yourself, if you're not doing that, what's the alternative? Everybody else is saying the majority something
Else.
not in line with our teachings.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, at least you're saying. But let's say now there's about 10 brothers doing it, 20 brothers doing it. Same guidance is coming from Islam. That can have a impact. Yeah.
I think part of linking onto role models, again, the brother Andrew Tate done a long conversation, 4 hours long.
Okay, recently, yeah?
Recently, just done an interview. Very insightful in the sense of, obviously, what he went through in prison and whatever. And of course, we know he's a new Muslim. And there's many benefits that many non-Muslims and Muslims can take from. But when you're talking about role models, for me, as I was looking at that from a person who's at least learned a little alif, bat, ta and whatever, there comes with that person, even though they're bringing so much good, there comes with it so much baggage. So when you're talking about role models, it's also the right role models. Because he'll be saying things like you have to be with how many women, even though he's Muslim now, you have to be with so many types of women first for you to now be with the right woman, which we know Islamically, it's incorrect.
Yeah.
Because their logic is you have to go through so many women for you to understand what a woman is like. You have to go through so many cars for you to know what a car's like. And Muslims some who don't know A, B, C, D will see that and think, yeah, I need to go through this, that for me to, you understand? So definitely it's getting the right role models out there who are, able to articulate themselves like this young man is. And mashallah, may Allah guide him more, make him speak more just things that are correct as well. Because as much good as he has, he also has a lot of negative things.
And remember, he's a new Muslim.
Of course, of course.
Know, but that also, I think it's important what you're saying. Because sometimes people are given
Platforms.
And in those platforms, like, okay, he's got a lot of, I think, what they say, the most Googled man at one
It
time.
was Googled at one point, yeah. But even that one show, it's like on 10 million views within 2 days.
Yeah. I mean, I watched the one with the BBC, the interview. I saw
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
And, put the lady in his place.
Yeah.
You're on my place. What are you doing? I mean, so there's good elements.
He comes with a lot of good
Yeah,
stuff.
but at the same time, there's gonna be things which are not in line with our deen. And even when the youngsters now, it's about being masculine. What do you mean by being masculine? That Muslim father that works 10 to 6, 10 to 7 in a halal job, is struggling but comes and feeds his family and looks after.
Masculine.
He's being masculine. Might not go to the gym, might not be kind of like,
Hench.
like Abdul Latif.
But that's true. That's a good point. I think when we talk about, now that you led it into masculinity, is that you have to be muscular. You have to have a 6-pack. You have to look like Jean-Claude Van Damme or one of these Arnold Schwarzeneggers back in the day. Like it doesn't work like that, because there are Arnold Schwarzeneggers, but then they're abusers.
100%.
So how can you be masculine but then abusive? How can you be There might be a smart person who's making lots of money like Elon Musk or whatever, but then again, you're also a thief or a cheater or whatever. So
Masculinity would mean you help your wife, you support your wife, you defend your wife, you're with your wife, not that you abuse your wife. Yeah. Can anybody be more masculine than Abdullah bin Mas'ud?
no.
But what was his physical kind of like?
I was gonna say that, wasn't it? That they said that his ankle was like
Twigs.
twigs.
And the Sahaba would kind of like joke. And what did the Messenger of Allah say?
I saw them.
Ya akhi, his status is greater than Uhud with Allah Jalla wa ala. But as somebody who's very slim, thin,
Abu Bakr
skinny,
was skinny.
Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, yeah. And even the Messenger of Allah in our home, he's helping when he can. So that he-
Why are you laughing? Huh? That's a topic right there. Go
That's
on.
what I
He's
mean.
helping. Carry on, bro. I'm not stopping you. But okay, so even in that, then the Prophet ﷺ is helping. How much is he helping? Do we know?
Shall I get in deep now? Yeah?
We're trying to clarify for the people that are
Become hard
struggling.
talk now.
Yeah, people struggling with marriages right now, man. We're trying to help them out. Was it 10%? Was it 50-50? Like,
Mashallah. I
help
like
us out.
these ratios. No.
What was the percentages, Imam? Can you tell us? Can you elaborate? No, but on a serious note, because from what I understood when the Prophet ﷺ helped, and when it talks about ala khidmihi, or you know,
Khidmati ahlihi.
yeah. So the khidma, what would that mean in English?
In Arabic, the word for servant is khadim.
So he'd be in the service.
Yeah, khidma is now the noun in the service or serving his family. Yeah.
So is that like wearing a blouse and
Mashallah.
which one is it? I
Don't be
don't-
doing that now, yeah?
or is he just helping around the house? Because it needs to be clarified. And the reason I'm on it is because it will be used. There will be sisters out here that will say the Prophet ﷺ was upon serving his family, so you need to come home, wash the dishes, hoover the house. You need to put the bed sheets together. So in our 2023 kind of, you know, culture, how would that look?
Interesting. No, interesting.
Don't be politician.
No, I ain't being politician, but look, I would say
Yeah.
Islam,
No.
alhamdulillah, is the perfect balance.
No.
A man's responsibility is to provide from the family and work for the family outside. A woman's responsibility is in the home. For a man to help and assist,
I'm joking.
that's the sunnah. Not that the man's kind of like just in the home cooking, cleaning all day. Wives, you know, you understand? Wife's out and gallivanting, and so the man just kind of like doing the khidmah in the home.
Babysitting.
No.
I was even looking up on something the other day, about babysitting. There's a lot of there's a lot of men nowadays babysitting,
Mashallah.
and one guy got so upset. He said, "No, you got to pay me for my babysitting, because even though it's my kid,
Tell your
I want
wife that.
Yeah. He's saying you got to pay me for babysitting." And I was really trying to comprehend it, like,
What do they call them? Stay home dads or stay home
stay at
husbands?
home dads and all of that, akhi. So I was trying to understand, like, I tried to really picture, because I haven't read it anywhere, but I was trying to really picture, like, would the Prophet ﷺ stay at home and babysit while his wife goes out to eat dinner? I don't think so. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? Like, I doubt it very much. So now, of course, there's a difference between babysitting your kids if your wife is going to see her family for some important things. No, of course not. You know, that's balance. But nowadays you have the man will come from work, look after the kid. The woman will say, I'm going to go out with the sisters. We're talking about Muslim perspective. Let's not talk about non-Muslim. That's a different story. But it definitely comes from a non-Muslim mindset and is reached the home now that the woman will say, well, you're going to look after the kids. I'm going to go out for however many hours.
50-50, akhi. You look 2 days, I do 2 days.
Yeah,
you do clean 2 days, I do 2 days.
100%.
No, akhi,
And
this
it's
is where-
serious.
This is where the paradigm is changing now, because we're not taking from Islam. That's not the balance. We're not talking about this. A husband assists, a husband supports, a husband helps. That's the khidmah.
So you got to pay me if I'm babysitting, right?
Mashallah, I don't know about that, akhi.
But yeah, no, it's true. So it's just, I don't want to say minimal, but it's the extra little help you need at home then, really.
Yeah.
It's not come and do the same amount I'm doing.
Okay, but look, it might be a day the wife's sick.
Of course.
You got to do everything.
It's a
that day.
context. That's a context.
That's it.
And that should be right for a man, that if the woman is ill, if she's pregnant, heavily pregnant specifically, then of course the man should come from work,
Exactly.
help cook around the house, do what he can. But
And if the man says, "No, you know what? Actually, that's a woman thing.
No,
you
of
know,
course.
I'm not going to do that. I'm masculine. I'm a man." No, Now you're going out of our paradigm of Islam. Yeah,
That's a good
and
point.
that's another extreme
Yeah,
that
yeah.
some brothers fall into.
Yeah.
Your wife is sick, she's pregnant. Cook, clean, look after the kids. Your kids, your home. Help, couple of days. Yeah, this is, inshallah, the balance.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point to bring it back to, because there are also men who will say, "Now, I don't have to do nothing at home.
Yeah.
I don't have to cook. No, I don't have to clean. Not," and of course, yes, that in, like you said, the Islam is the middle ground. Nor is it too extreme in helping around the house and putting on a maid's blouse is what you have to do. Nor is it a bit too
Into the trousers, I think, please. Yeah.
Nor is it too far to the left where you think masculinity means you are the person at home who does everything and all I do is work.
Yeah.
So I think trying to find that middle ground and trying to the reason why I'm trying to stick to is I want that to be known for what Islam is. I don't want these youth, whoever's watching us, thinking the Andrew Tates, as much as mashallah he's doing well and he's doing a lot of beautiful things, it's not coming from the deen though. It's not what the Prophet ﷺ did himself. It's coming from our own minds and what we think is right or what is wrong, which can also we can easily be influenced by a society. If
It reminds me of a brother, Akhi. And I might be, I'm not saying I'm completely right. It might be me being old school.
Yes,
So it
very
might be
old
wrong
school.
and not understanding the context of today's kind of like financial, economic kind of like situation and so on. So this brother took Shahada, wife's at home, got kids, wife hasn't taken Shahada, so she's a non-Muslim still. The brother's become a Muslim, he's a carpenter. He used to look, I work, wife looks after the home, sometimes I help. I was just thinking, you know what? That traditional way where the husband goes out, grafts, works hard, the wife's in the home, is more closer to the Islamic environment than some of the youngsters going on to, let's say, like online trading. Yeah. Where, okay, you're making money so easily and quickly, but you're at home. You're not even outside the space of your home. The wife's not seeing you kind of like really grafting. Money's coming in also easy, so you're not appreciating it. Allah knows best, but it's an assumption, is taking the manliness out of people.
So working from home.
Working from home and the whole kind of like, the easy
Working
money,
from
the
the
large
internet.
money. People say, oh, I got 60 grand this week from doing just this and this, just from online.
Yeah, what did the Prophet ﷺ say about Dawood alayhi salam? That Dawood's fasting was the best of fasts and that his work was the best of work. The fact that he used to fast every other day and the fact that he used to bend iron or he used to work with metal.
In one hadith, he said the best work is done with your hands. But these guys will say, look, I'm doing,
I'm typing
on the computer, man.
Well, to be fair, I've done trading and it's not easy. There is a lot of mental game. But I also do agree that you should be at least out doing some form of work that looks like you're doing something as well. Because I've gone to many clients' houses. That's another topic. I don't know how much time we have.
But on that point, though, I mean, look,
5 minutes.
On that point, just adding to, let's say, we spoke about Abdullah bin Mas'ud, we spoke about Abu Bakr Siddiq. A lot of youngsters now, physically, yeah, meaning they might be slim, but you know what, they're strong. Abu Bakr, they said, he was the soldier. Yeah, he was the fighter, even though he's slim. Same with Abdullah bin Mas'ud.
No.
But now with all this online stuff, stay at home, youngsters can't physically work, actually making them weak, soft, feminine.
Very.
That, again,
Very, very, very. But the link I was gonna and say to you was, and this kind of probably slipped my mind, but following from your trajectory, that staying at home, yes, I was saying to you, yes, going to people's houses, because remember I got construction company, so I go to a lot of clients' homes. I mean, the guys always kind of mock it and joke about it, but it's a serious thing. And is that nowadays you see the woman has far more masculine traits than the men. Like we'll go to a client's house, there's both a man and a woman. The woman will come forth and say, yeah, this is what's happening and this is how the kitchen is going to be. And the guy's just walking behind her and he knows nothing of the wise. And I say, yo, whatever his name is, after she's left or whatever, what's going on? Like, what's happening? Mate, I don't know anything. Got to talk to the missus. So the woman has been given such a position within the house anyway. I don't know what it is once we leave the house, but it looks like once we're in the house, that she's dominant within that role. And it's not like a respectable one. Like you can see it like she's more dominant than him. Does that make sense? And that's a man that's usually working from home, what I've noticed. It's not a man that's out. It's a man that's working online or probably got some soft hands. I didn't touch his hands, but I'm just saying. So I get the angle that you're coming at.
I would add to that though, Akhi, something very controversial. Many, maybe not many, but significant amount of cultures of Muslims in Muslim countries where the women are dominant and controlled, and the man doesn't have a say.
Okay.
I can give examples.
Okay. In Muslim countries.
Akhi, Muslim countries. There's plenty of countries, man.
Nah, I get you. But
Seriously, Akhi.
I would even say Somalia. I'm putting my people under the neck right now, and I know that, but that's what we do in life. There is, like, I've seen it where all right, there's two angles. It could be that the man's been wise, and so he's letting her, because we know obviously the Prophet ﷺ said that the woman is a bent rib, and if you try to straighten her, then you break her. Meaning that could be, I think they say, might be religion, it could be the deen or whatever. So there could be the wisdom that we know that women are naturally more emotional, so hence let them have their. It could be. I'm just giving it.
No. It's when fine wisdom is there, but when you're doing actions of men. Yeah.
That's what I mean by this one. Like usually the man will tell you, look, we're building a wall here. The extension is going to be. That's how I assume it. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm a bit too masculine. I don't know.
Look, it's general leadership. Yeah. But when the woman's controlling everything, yeah, man's trying to be wise, but he's given the full authority. Okay, that breakdown. Going back to our first issue of Mizzy, that even itself is part of the problem. And then when we might say, look, okay, the woman is trying to be dominant, but where were you as a man? What was your role in this? Why couldn't you put a stop and put a structure and put discipline in? A lot falls down on men and lack of kind of like they're taking their responsibility fully.
I think a good point that Andrew Tate made when I was watching his thing was that because these men. He said when masculinity is on the increase, a lot of the crimes are in the decrease. When masculinity is on a decrease, a lot of crime is on the increase. Meaning the less masculinity there is out there, and by masculinity we mean about good masculinity, like, you know, strong men, smart men, working men, looking after the not so-called toxic. We're talking about, you know, the majority of men are good. Like, let's be honest here. There's 7 billion human beings in the world. Let's just say half of them are men, 3.5. We ain't having 3.5 billion crimes happening, is there?
Yeah.
There's a small percentage of these billions of people that are doing bad things. So I'm sure the majority of men are good men. So in these good men, his argument is the more we're pushing masculinity down, there's more suicides. There's more, what's it called? And what's the word that he used again? Like just weak men that are going into schools in America shooting kids. There is more of the feminine kind of act. There's more abuse. Because, for example, let's say this man, the woman is talking every time. If you know naturally, your natural inclination is to take lead. That's as a man, that is your natural inclination. And this woman is always getting ahead of you. No, but no, it shouldn't be like that, James. It should be like this. You're losing that your level of respect and your honor. What happens? It just takes 1 minute to snap. And to hit that woman, abuse starts. Does that make sense? And it doesn't justify it, of course not. But I'm saying it leads to that because you have been emasculated. Had your woman respected your masculinity and allowed you to lead and respected that, then you have this kind of equilibrium where she understands you're strong, you're this, that. He understands you're soft, you're communicative, you're loving. The two collide in a good way. But because you're pushing his masculinity down, he's gonna now bring it out in a different way. That's why you see most of these guys who go around shooting schools and they leave a little video. That guy spoke to me the wrong way. My dad didn't love me. No, it's like, bro, who cares, bro? You're a man. That's just life, bro. You're not the only human being who goes through a dad not being there or a mum spoke to you the wrong way. But because society has made it look like being a strong man is a bad thing and for you to cry is a good thing, well, now if you want to cry, I must be a weak man, so I'm going to start shooting people and making you feel how I feel. So it's a very good point that we're making there.
Now that you're mentioning it, you know, this was when you were in prison. So basically, remember, some of the non-Muslim gangs, easy to deal with.
Okay.
Easy to deal with, easy to approach and say, look, you know what? I mean, in that day as well, you could say maybe the Imam was respected a bit more than how these youngsters today. But anyway, I'm talking about with the senior leadership, not even the youngest.
That's the main bosses.
Yeah, the main bosses. Look, what's going on? Changed. You can't be doing this. Youngsters are killing. You guys are the seniors. You got to change it. This, and it was easy. What happened with some of the Muslims? We said, okay, you know what? We're going to approach the Muslims, and tell him to stop selling drugs, tell him to fix up. The mothers came. Leave our kids alone. Don't do that to our kids. We love our kids. Wallah, I wanted to tell you that before as well.
I didn't know this.
Akhi,
The Muslim local ghetto debt for all these areas.
yeah, Lusham, akhi. Lusham, no, please don't do that. This and this. Yeah.
Look at that. Where was the pups? In the Maqahi.
Pups were the spokespeople. Say this is it.
My wife said this. My wife said we shouldn't be allowing our kids to. Yeah, this is it, akhi.
Akhi, this is it.
And then you wonder why your kid's been shot, stabbed, drug dealing. Because, like I said to you before, if the men, even when I was doing drug dealing or whatever gangbang we was doing, if more men in our community were saying, hey, Abdul Latif, whatever my name was, nah, it can't happen here. All right, I'm going to have to move somewhere else. Can't happen here. Well, I would have to until either we're going to clash, like some form of beef has to happen, or I'm just going to have to keep moving. But the more men take stances and say, this ain't happening here, the less of these issues are going to be happening. And that's the same with marriages. That's the same with on the streets. That's the same in everything. The more men understand what it means to be a man, leadership, compassion, smart, strong, fit, not unhealthy, fit. Like you can't be, what is it when was it Umar or the Prophet ﷺ when there was in a line and the man had a big belly and he tapped it.
He poked him and said,
He poked him.
Yeah.
Look at that. But today, that's a norm now. Like,
Yeah.
being chubby and no, we should be losing weight. We should be fit, strong, because being overweight leads to laziness.
Umar was like a man, and he's so what's this? The man said, "This is a blessing. It's not a punishment from Allah.
punishment
It's a blessing."
It is a punishment because it leads you to laziness, and that laziness leads you to a lack of spirituality, and then obviously has a spiral effect. But I think time is coming to an end. We've obviously, mashallah, gone through a lot of topics. And inshallah, we'll cover some other topics in the future. Leave some comments underneath and we'll catch you on the next one. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.